Hello and welcome to this review of the Gilded Age Heiresses historical romance book series by Harper St. George. Now, you might think that this takes place in Gilded Age America, but while we have American protagonists, all of these stories actually take place in England. I'm Olivia, your favorite resource for book recommendations you can easily screenshot. You're watching Random Olive Reads. First up, we have The Heiress Gets a Duke, which is book one of the series. We have a semi tragic prologue to start the series with Camille, an American heiress who is being married off to a much older and impoverished duke in England against her wishes. August is one of Camille's friends who sees how awful the whole situation is and is thankful that her parents would never do such a thing to her or her sister. Right. Fast forward to a few months later when August visits England with her parents and younger sister, and her parents are doing exactly what she feared. They attempt to set up a match between her younger sister Violet and an impoverished Duke Evan, but August intends to thwart it. It doesn't much matter since Evan prefers the feisty August instead and tries to convince her to marry him. He needs the money because his father's antiquated ideals have left the estate in a lot of debt, and the tenants on his lands are suffering. August refuses because she would prefer to stay working for her father's company and has no interest in becoming a duchess. There's a whole lot of cajoling and convincing involved here, even though these two are very clearly attracted to each other. The romance here was great. I enjoyed seeing August's family dynamic, and we do also get to meet all the key players in future books of the series. Next up is The Devil and the Heiress. This book deals with August's younger sister Violet and Evan's best friend Christian in sort of like a road trip escape from the suitor that Violet's parents have selected for her. Believing that she is safe from her parents' meddling now that her sister has settled with the Duke in book one, Violet is caught off guard when she realizes that her father has agreed to a match with some other Viscount. She plans to run away and is aided by an Earl, Christian, who has his own designs on her and hopes to force a marriage when they're caught together. Of course, during the trip, these two actually talk and get to know each other, so Christian feels guilty for his planned betrayal. Violet is also slowly opening up to the idea of marriage since she feels so connected to Christian. In the background, Violet is working on writing a novel and has based her main hero on Christian without him realizing it. This book has all the calamities you would expect in a road trip novel, plus the added dread of uncovering Christian's deception. We also introduce the pairing of Violet's brother Maxwell with her friend Lady Helena when they team up to chase after the runaway pair. Book three of the series is The Lady Tempts an Heir, and Maxwell, older brother to August and Violet, is called back to England from America after his father suffers from heart problems. Now, his father is basically forcing Maxwell to marry and sire the next generation to take over the company. He's presented with an ultimatum where Sister August loses out on a business deal due to their father's kind of scheming. When Max crosses paths again with the widowed Lady Helena, the attraction he feels for her is reignited. Knowing that they don't really have a future together on opposite sides of the ocean, he proposes a fake courtship and subsequent fake engagement so that he can appease his father long enough to not jeopardize his sister's project. Lady Helena is facing her own parental pressure to marry in order to continue her charity work with abandoned women. So she agrees to Maxwell's proposal since she cares about his sister as well. Helena obviously is a widow who doesn't want to remarry, mostly because she knows she's unable to have children and doesn't really want to put anyone else through the same struggle that she had with her first husband. These two are highly attracted to each other and can't seem to keep from being heartbroken. Then we have a little subplot with some property dispute and Max kind of not understanding Helena's mission and purpose. So we have a high amount of angst here, but it was fun to read Helena and Max's flirting and banter, and we continue to see the rift that Maxwell and his siblings have versus their parents, and their parents' sort of overhanded tactics in getting them to marry. And lastly, we have The Duchess Takes a Husband, which is the fourth and final book of the series. We revisit the woman from our tragic prologue of book one, Camille, an American heiress who is married off to a much older duke. Throughout the first three books, we have seen bits of the cruel treatment she's endured from her husband, ultimately seeing his death in the bed of his mistress at a house party in book three. Now we fast forward, she's been a widow for the past 2 years, and Camille is slowly trying to reclaim her identity. She's participating in causes that her husband would have disapproved of, like the Home for Young Abandoned Women or the women's suffrage movement. She also tries to find out if she can find sex pleasurable, and she propositions a man to assist her. Jacob is the illegitimate son of an earl and half brother to Christian from book two. He refuses Camille's proposition at first, not wanting to make things awkward in their pretty tight knit social circle. He ends up needing a fake fiance to prove some stability for a business arrangement and asks Camille to play the part. Of course, she only agrees in exchange for those sex lessons that she wanted in the first place. We very quickly realize that Camille has underlying fears of the act due to the ill treatment from her husband, and Jacob needs to be gentle and patient, as well as allow Camille to be in control of their intimacies. We get to see our charming, rakish hero slowly fall in love with Camille, even though he doesn't really believe in love, and also help with her journey towards empowerment. Overall, this was a great cap for the series because we get to see our poor Camille finally get a happy ending. Overall, this is a very tightly connected series, which makes the most sense when you read it in order. Each book flows directly into the next one, with the events moving in sequential order. The three siblings of the first three books are very good friends with each other, and they have a really strong relationship, especially when they try to take a stand against their parents. Now, the author has stated that the fourth book with Camille was not actually part of the original plan for this series, but was developed after readers requested Camille's story. I mean, we've seen this poor tortured woman for the first three books. Of course, we want to see her kind of overcome her situation. It fits in perfectly with the family connection that her partner Jacob has with the group as well. So if you're looking for a series with strong-willed females with a purpose outside of just getting married and looking for men who support them in every way, I highly recommend this series. Thank you so much for watching this video. Links to all four books are in the description box. Like and subscribe so you don't miss future videos, and you can follow me on Instagram at randomolive.